Lana here from Girl Teach Me, and today I'm doing a wife chat with Margaret Matheny. You probably came over from her channel, but if you have not, you do need to go watch it and subscribe because it is so good. She talks about slow living, minimalism, all the things. I just love her channel. And if I get a second by myself without the kids, I love to just sit and binge her videos. So I hope you'll go check out her channel as well. But today we are just answering your questions that came in around marriage. And so I've been married 10 years. I have 4 kids, 7, 5, 3, and 1, 2 boys, 2 girls. I like to say we're in the odd years since all of their ages are odd. And I'm literally just gonna be answering your questions. Y'all, I do not have a perfect marriage. I feel like I have a good one and I love being married, but it's also really, really hard. And so I'm gonna share some things I've learned, but also some failures too, because I feel like you can kind of learn from failures. And I just don't wanna come off like I've got it all together or I'm being preachy, because I don't have it all together. But I really feel like I have some things that could be helpful for you. So let's get started. Okay, so right out the gate, this is a good question. Tips for an angry wife. I struggle with Christian submission and being a helper. So that's kind of a 3-part question, but the tips for an angry wife, I've got some, because guess what? I struggle with anger. I do. I struggle with anger as a wife and as a mother. And I think the number one thing about that is just asking, why am I so angry? Because I think anger just shows that something is going on, you know, under the surface. So for me, it's been really like getting underneath, why am I so angry? I think the next thing is just taking some time to calm down. Our brain is split into 2 sections, the emotional side and the logical side. And I think I just need to take time to let the emotional side cool down so that I can think logically. And I think for me, that's looked like taking myself to my room, even with the kids, and just taking like a mommy time out or a wife time out to just sit and cool down, really. Because my instinct is like, let's duke it out. I want harmony right now. But honestly, my husband needs like a moment to calm down. And that's actually been really good for me, because most of the time, if I'm hyper emotional, I'm gonna say things that I shouldn't. And it's gonna make things worse, and I'm just gonna burn my house down with my tongue. And so honestly, it's just better if I take some time to cool down. In regards to submission, I've loved this book, Eve in Exile. Such a topic that women just like want to throw out. But in this question specifically, she's saying Christian submission. So if you're a Christian, I am too, then we have to believe that God is like the ultimate covering, and then our husband is the covering over us. Now, God doesn't tell us to submit to every man. That's like cultish. But he does tell us to submit to the one man that we chose. You know, this isn't an arranged marriage situation. And so I just had to learn that it's honestly really good for me. Not that Matt chooses correctly all the time. And we definitely have a discussion over everything. My voice is so important to him. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm gonna get a vote, he's gonna get a vote, and then if we're at this split, he gets another vote. And there's actually a really sad failure for me recently where I really tried to convince my husband to buy this house because I loved it. Y'all, it was in the neighborhood I wanted to be in, all the things. I really tried to convince him, and he had no peace about it. And we were gonna go sign the for sale by owner papers that night, and Matt was like, I have no peace, I can't sleep. And I'm like, you better get some peace. And he was like, Lana, I can't do it. And I kid you not, 2 hours later, after we told that owner we could not purchase the house, Matt got a call about this dream job that he now has in North Carolina. And I feel like the Lord was just like, look, Lana, trust your husband, trust your husband. And so I feel like if I'm not letting him lead, he's never gonna learn to lead. Like if I'm always just taking the reins, you know, he has to have the space to learn, grow, fail. That's how we all learn. And so it's good for me, it's good for him. I just have to step back and not take the lead. That helper word is so looked down upon in our culture, but honestly, being a helper is good. And I think it's just, what does your husband feel called to? What is he really passionate about? And then coming alongside of him and helping in any tangible way that you can. You know, I think about Margaret. I think about the fact that her husband was a professional athlete, and there she was at the game supporting him. That was being a helper, and that was showing that she cared. So what does that look like for me and you uniquely? No husband's the same. And so I think that's what's really amazing about the job of being a wife, is that being a wife doesn't look the same for every person, because no husband's the same. But we get to kind of translate that and make it our own. And so I think it's just thinking about, what is your husband uniquely called to and what is he passionate about, and then come alongside him and be a dynamic duo that way. Okay, so this one says, what is the best part about being married? I think the best part about being married is marking the days together, just growing old together. I'm getting wrinkles, y'all, getting gray hairs, and my husband's losing his hair. And so we just get to do that together, and we get to raise these kids together and dream big dreams together and pay off debt together and buy a house together. And you know, it's just living life together. So I think it's the teamwork, the camaraderie, the togetherness that I just really, really love. Okay, this next question is, how do you stay in love as much as you did at the beginning? And the truth is, you don't, because I really feel like the love at the beginning is not the same love that you have 10 years in. I feel like the love at the beginning is more of like a honeymoon, naive kind of just blind love, which isn't bad. Like, I think we're made that way, but honestly, I think it's replaced with something richer and better if the trust is maintained and the relationship is nurtured, like the friendship, if it's still there. I think the conversation gets better. I think the friendship gets better. I think the sex gets better. I think it all gets better, but it's just different. It's not gonna be that like passionate puppy love. It's gonna be replaced with something more substantial, more weighty. I think about the difference between like a cheap cocktail and like a really fine wine. There's just a difference, and it's better. It's better, and it's something that shouldn't be feared, but honestly looked forward to. And there's so many times that I feel that I see that glimpse of better, and I'm like, wow, what's it gonna be like when we're 20 years in? I can't wait, because if I think this is the best it gets, I think it could get better. So it's really exciting. Okay, this is a really good question. How do you support a husband that is stressed besides praying for him and feeding him? Wow, those are two really good, important things, praying for them and feeding them. I think the number one thing besides that is just lots of encouragement, calling all the good we see, you know, creating an environment that is peaceful and not stressful for them to come into, where they can lay their load down, be themselves completely, and know they're not going to be torn down, nagged, or picked apart. Just calling the good we see and just encouraging the mess out of them. The world is discouraging. Our head sometimes is discouraging, and so we just need to be with somebody who's going to call the good they see in us and encourage us. And so I think that's the number one way. I think maybe the secret sauce besides that, number two, is to surround yourself with couples that are just making you better. Some couples that have been married longer than you have, that want to spend time, grab supper together, and let him pour into your husband, because I think sometimes we want to fix every stressful situation when really they need the wisdom of somebody older. So just, hey, invite them over for supper or ask them to go grab dinner, and just let that man pour into your husband. Okay, last question. What are some super simple little things you do for your husband, both practical, romantic, and sweet? Encouraging text, notes in his car, some candles in the bedroom, some soft piano music, cueing that Margaret Matheny tip of keeping peaceful piano music playing, just creating a beautiful environment for them to come into in the bedroom. Another thing is plan spontaneous dates, plan a babysitter, plan a dinner, and don't wait for them to do it, but you know, just me doing that for him, he just feels really loved, and he's like, wow, you want to spend time with me. Planning a getaway, planning some time together just to invest in one another and to not be so child-centric, but to just foster that friendship. Those are my secret tips. Those are the things I do the most often. I think if you could take anything away from this wife chat, it's encouragement. I think our husbands need lots of it. I think they need less nagging, less discouragement, more encouragement, and I think they'll feel really loved. I had a friend who told me that she made a vow to herself to not discourage her husband or say one ugly thing about him to his face or in front of other people for 30 days. And she said on day 3, her husband literally just opened up. It was like the old friend that she hadn't talked to in a long time, and shared what was really hard and really stressful for him, and like dreamed with her. And those are those things that she had been longing for a really long time. But it took 3 days of no discouragement for him to feel like she was a safe place again. And I'm like, wow, that is a good word for us all. So I hope you enjoyed this wife chat. I hope that you'll stay and subscribe. I would love to have you here on this channel. If you aren't subscribed to Margaret's channel, I literally don't know what you're waiting for. It's one of the best YouTube channels there is out there for women. And as I like to say at the end of Girl Teach Me videos, if there's something you really want to learn, I hope that you'll find a real life woman, a real life mentor, and say to her, hey, girl, teach me.
Miles and miles of the clear blue skies. We drive straight as a narrow fly.